live. Hello. Here I am in all my pregnancy. Welcome, guys. Sorry I'm a little late. The Facebook video took a little while, but I'm so glad you're here. Whoever is here, make sure you let me know you're here in the comment box. Show me some love. Can you hear me? Can you see me? All that good stuff. Hello, hello. It's been a little while since I was able to do a live, and I am so pregnant. This might be my last live for a while, but I will be back. Don't worry. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for being here. We got a really good topic today: how to end emotional eating. Now, this is a video that I'm doing because we are in the middle of a registration period, open registration for the 8-week Eat to Live Academy. And the 8-week Eat to Live Academy is something that I have created in order to help us with the mindset portion of healthy eating. I don't think a lot of people talk about it nowadays, and I think it's the most important part, because I think anybody can teach you how to eat healthy, but not everybody can teach you how to do it consistently for life and love it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today: how to end emotional eating. Because if we can end emotional eating, then we got it under control. It's all good. And that's what we're all trying to do, right? So let me know in the comment box where you're watching from, please, and we will get going. Now, I want to just say, this is a live video. We're talking about registration for the Eat to Live Academy, but this is also just an open Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about anything to do with Eat to Live or healthy eating or how to stay on track or anything like that, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer your questions today too on anything. So I'm going to jump in because we don't have any questions yet, but what I wanted to talk about today was how to end emotional eating. Now, my channel is 100% about the healthy, whole foods, plant-based, eat to live lifestyle, nutritarian, from the book Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I adopted this lifestyle about 7 years ago, and I love it. Changed my life. It's been amazing. It is my favorite way to eat ever. I've tried a lot of different diets in the past, and this one just makes me feel really good. It's been just a really life-changing thing to start doing. Hello, chilling in the desert Southwest. Lulu's mom, so nice to see you from Arizona. Hello. Let me know where you guys are watching from if you get a chance. Let me take a second to show you the belly, because we are 6 weeks out, you guys. 6 weeks out from delivery of 2 twins, 2 identical twin girls. Let me show you what we got going on. Look how much is happening. There are 2 babies in here. I think that there's one on this side and one on that side, but like a couple weeks ago, they were like one here and then one here. And honestly, I mean, they still have a little ways to move around. So, yeah. Oops. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, I always do that. I always drop it, and then I'm not sure if you guys still hear me. So let me know if you can still hear me. Lulu's mom, let me know. She says, "Oh my gosh, so excited for you and for us." I know, right? It's been like, this is a long pregnancy. I feel very big now, and I still have 6 weeks to go, and I kind of can't understand how this can grow 6 weeks more. Really, the babies are at like more than 3 pounds already, each of them. So I'm carrying around already like almost a full-term baby, which is insane, plus 6 weeks to go. So that's interesting. And so I was going to talk a little bit about my maternity leave too, and what you guys could expect. Susan from Fairfield, California. Hello, dear. So glad to see you. Let me know where you guys are watching from as you come in. So we're talking about how to end emotional eating, which is kind of like, it's the holy grail, right? Like, we know we want to eat healthy. We know that Eat to Live foods are good, right? We know we like them. Could we just choose them like 100% of the time or 95% of the time on purpose because we want to? and love it forever, right? Isn't that's sort of the goal, right? Like, couldn't we just, Susan says, you look great, thank you. I keep propping up the belly a little bit more with the towel down here, so because they're kind of heavy. But if we could just choose that all the time forever, wouldn't that be like so amazing? And so that's what my whole channel is dedicated to, because like I'm sold on Eat to Live. You don't have to explain it to me, It's like everyone knows you should eat more veggies. There's not a single person in this world that's going to tell you that vegetables aren't good for you, right? We know that. So I'm already sold on the lifestyle. I know that this is what we should be eating, but like, how can we go from where I used to be, which you can see a lot of it in my past videos on my channel, because I have been 100% honest about my journey the whole time, and I have documented it in video, and then I've taken you to where I am now, which is the opposite. So where I started was actually, this website started as a food blog just about like food, because I just really loved food. Right? Like I love to just eat, and it was nothing specific, like just it wasn't even healthy food. I just chocolate cake, alcohol. Like some of my biggest claim to fame on this YouTube channel is old alcohol shots. And I leave them up because I want you guys to see where I came from. But I was also a binge eater, and I was a hoarder of food, and I binging to me was at least a weekly or twice a week kind of thing that I would do, where I would go to the store, I'd have a craving for something, and go to the store and buy like 4 or 5 boxes of things, different things, because I didn't exactly know what was gonna, make that craving go away or whatever. It's like, oh, well, I'd like that and I'd like that, but I have to have some of that too, and I want some of that, right? So I'd leave the store with all these different things, and I would just sit myself down in front of the TV and open up all the boxes and just start eating, piling the food down, trying to I don't know, create some kind of a feeling, or to make this craving go away, and I never could. Lula's mom says, eat to live, plant-based, 71 and still working 13-hour days because of this way of eating, for sure. So much energy, right? And we feel so much better. It's just so obvious that we should eat this way, but how do we do it consistently? For some of us that have these issues, like I did, coming from a food addiction background, and not being able to control myself was really the crux of it. And like, why, and you guys are gonna have to pardon me for my breathing, because I'm just constantly out of breath now from the pregnancy, because like my diaphragm is so pushed up and everything. But and then I got pregnancy rhinitis, which is a stuffy nose because of pregnancy, which I had that in my last pregnancy too, so it is what it is. But so for many of us, it's more than just knowing what to eat. It's like, how do we do it consistently? First of all, how do we do it consistently enough to get to our goal weight? And then second of all, how do we do it consistently enough once we get to our goal weight to keep it off, right? So we're going to talk about the answer to that in this video. How to end emotional eating. So I started this because I wanted to solve that for myself. I wanted to figure out what the solution was for that issue myself, because it was something that I always struggled with, and just really wanted to make myself sort of the test case, the guinea pig, to like, okay, I want to figure, this was sort of my quest in my life, right? And then once I figured it out, I was like, I got to share this. This has to be known. I've got to make this known. And so if I could find something that would help a food addict like me, certainly it would help pretty much everyone else, because I'm at the top of the spectrum when it comes to food addiction, right? Like that's where I came from. I'm no longer there, but that's definitely where I came from. Susan says, I'm completely sold on Eat to Live too. My issue is chronic pain. When I have an episode, all I want is bread and crackers, etc. Any advice? Absolutely, Susan. Let me get to the answers. I'm going to tell you to how to end emotional eating, and that will give you some of your information there. And the rest of it is really in the Eat to Live Academy. So I'll explain just a little bit of background. How this worked was, for me, I started off as a food addict, similar to you, Susan. Mine was always bread, crackers, and also sugar. I was a total sugar addict. When I was in my 20s, I used to live in Chandler, Arizona, and I remember this apartment we lived at. It was near a gas station, so every month, like clockwork, get my period, walk to the gas station, and get two big, huge bags of M&Ms, like the family-sized bags of M&Ms, with the intention to eat them all that night. And I usually would, or I would eat at least one of the bags, have crazy headaches. And it would just happen every month. I couldn't stop it, right? It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go get my M&Ms. It was like, I need M&Ms right now, This type of behavior every month, plus other binging on a weekly basis at least, kind of a thing. So I was always searching for that solution. When I found Eat to Live, I thought that was going to be it. I thought that was the solution to it because Dr. Furman promises that. So I thought, okay, let me use myself as a test case and see if this actually works. And if I can stop binge eating, anybody can stop binge eating, right? So I started Eat to Live, gave it a really good shot for years. And yet I was still addicted to food, but I became unaddicted to like M&Ms and Doritos and things like that. And then I became addicted to nutritarian food, and I was still overeating on that. And I just couldn't stop. Those thoughts, the cravings just continued to hit me forever, and I couldn't make it go away. So I thought there's got to be something else, right? If it's not the nutrients, because I was putting myself on challenges, right? Like 21-day challenges or whatever, to make sure I was getting enough nutrients and eating this way. And I would always go back to overeating. So even if I wasn't going back to any junk food, I was still getting tons of nutrients and eating very healthfully. The cravings still plagued me. And I was like, how could I be getting all the nutrients I need and still have this? And so that's when I started to search for something else. And that's when I found the mindset stuff that I teach now, which I've put into my private coaching program, and which has really changed so much. Jenna says, I'm totally sold too. My issue is all my emotional connections to specific recipes from my cookbooks in childhood. I'm an avid cooker, and not being able to go to all my beautiful books is really sad. I get you. We're going to talk about that too. And kind of the solutions that I give you to this mindset stuff. It's one solution, but it works for all the things. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a sec, and I'll try to come back to your guys'. So found this mindset stuff, and specifically found it from Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School. So I went and got certified in her methods. And as I was getting certified, I was working through these methods, using myself as a guinea pig again. Is this going to work? Can this be a permanent solution for me? And you know what? It ended up being the solution. The mindset stuff ended up being the solution. It was like the food was one thing, and that was really great, and I was glad to have it, but it didn't fix it. And then I needed to have that final, it was like I needed that final piece of the puzzle to figure that out. Amanda says, you look like you're having trouble getting comfy. Yeah, I mean, been my situation for the last 6 months, and I still have 6 weeks to go. Actually, we just got our due date, and it's tomorrow. So I'm going to have a C-section because of the type of twins that we have. There's only one placenta, identical twin girls, but yeah, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Everything is so big, but this pregnancy, it is so. And you better believe I've been using my mindset techniques about this stuff too, for sure. And so I thought, this is starting to work for me, and I want to teach this. So let me do that. When I got to the place where I realized Amanda, mom of 6, you get it. Yeah, that's where we are right now, home stretch. I thought, if this is actually working for me, first of all, I can't believe it. This is amazing because I finally figured this thing out. I'm finally getting to the end of my quest. But now I want to share it, right? I need to share this with other people. And that's what my whole channel's been about anyways, has been this quest of how to get over the addiction stuff. And it's funny actually, because my brother uses the same techniques I do, and he has lost all the weight. I think I actually showed you guys. I don't know if I showed you guys him on the last live, but I want to see if I can find that photo of him to show you his progress as well, because he's a nutritarian too, and he uses this mindset stuff as well. And he's really made incredible progress too. I don't know if I'm gonna, oh, here it is. Here's a before and after of my brother. I just can't even believe this, you guys. Look at that. That's my brother. Uses all the same kind of mindset stuff I do. Also a nutritarian, and has just really changed his life as well. We've got people that have come out of the Eat to Live Academy, which is what I wanted to talk about today, that all the same kind of results. Like we've got one gentleman, Joe, who was also a private coaching client of mine, who lost 28 pounds in the 12 weeks that we were working together. He went through the academy, he did the private coaching program and just knocked it out. This guy came to me saying he was out of control, extreme binging, didn't know how to control himself. And 12 weeks later, he's saying he gets it. He has no doubt he'll be able to do it for the rest of his life. And he's just done binging now. That's why I do what I do. And it's the exact thing for me. Like I don't binge anymore either. And I know how to teach it. So what I started doing was with my private clients, I started coaching this material and started seeing these incredible results out of people. I've coached dozens and dozens of people over the last few years, and just seeing the difference between the people who are using the mindset stuff and the people who didn't. It's like it was continually that rat race with the people who didn't, right? Like lose a little few pounds here and there and just go back and forth and back and forth and up and down and up and down and never truly grasp it. Whereas if you actually use the mindset stuff, that's when you make the permanent, lifelong, I love this lifestyle, I want to keep going type of change. Lose the weight, keep it off forever kind of a thing. So here's how this works. What I've done is I've split my brand into two different parts. So you've got the food part. So I teach all about, which in my personal opinion, I do these 21-day challenges for you guys in order to get you to understand the food part, how much to eat, when to eat it, how to prep it, how to prepare it, all that sort of a thing, so that you really can get into the swing of Eat to Live without being starved, without being overwhelmed. And we kind of lay everything out for you so you understand that. But that's not enough for many of us, right? It's great, but still many people will come to me at the end of the challenges and say, okay, but how do I keep going, right? You thought of everything for me in the 21-day challenges. Now, how do I keep going? So that's why I created the Academy. Because here's what was happening. So I was doing these private coaching programs with people, typically 8 to 12 weeks, usually a 12-week program, so private coaching, getting people amazing results. But then I noticed that after a while, the first 5 to 6 weeks of my coaching is always kind of the same lessons. I always teach the same lessons to every private coaching client in the beginning to kind of get them up to speed so that once they get to that level of knowledge, then it's just very specific, tailored information to their struggles. And it helps them to really find out where they're going wrong. But still, you've got this whole portion of stuff that I teach everybody anyways. And I just thought, why don't I turn this into a course so that I can teach it even more in depth than I would to a private coaching client? And so you can have it for lifetime access. And every time I do an update, you have that update for free, right? Like it's just included in the program. You go through the program. Once you've done the full 8 weeks of the course, you have my whole basic private coaching program at your fingertips whenever you want. So that's the 8-week Eat to Live Academy. So I thought, all right, here's the food part, which is the 21-day challenges that I create. Then let me create something for the mindset so you know how to, how to use your mind to stay consistent. And you put these two things together, and man, you got it. Like that's what did it for me, taking me from a level 10 plus food addict and food hoarder to somebody who just has it and just understands it now, right? Okay, remember guys, this is a Q&A too, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section there and I'll answer them too. Okay, so the reason we're talking about this is because registration for the Eat to Live Academy is open right now. We only open it every I don't even know yet. We don't have a regular schedule, and I don't know when it's going to open again. But what we're doing right now is it's open today. It's been open for a few days, but it's going to close tomorrow night. So I'm going to put a link for the registration page in the comment section right now. There it is. And there's also a link in the description of this video. So if you guys are interested in this mindset stuff, consider joining the Academy. It's life-changing and it's also forever. So like you join now and you get access to the videos forever, and you will get access to the updates forever as well, because I'm going to be doing updates as we go, and adding things and stuff like that. Now, what is the 8-week Eat to Live Academy? So it's 8 weeks of pre-recorded lessons. So you get one lesson per week. You start off with a welcome module, introduction module, and then you start to get into the meat of the topics on the second week. You keep going each week thereafter. It gets sort of dripped to you every week by design, because that's how my private coaching program would go. And because you really need time in between each of the lessons to kind of work through it and put it into practice in your own life and understand the concepts. And the first lesson is very basic, and then you start to get into some pretty intense mind shifting lessons thereafter. So I want you to have time in between to do the lessons, do the worksheets, really understand and absorb the information, and have time to think through it just as you would in my private coaching program. Okay. So I created 8 weeks of this foundational information to get you to understand how to go from being a binge eater or a hoarder or, just an overeater or unconscious eater or whatever, to being somebody who finally understands how to sort of be in control and just do this consistently for the rest of your life. So that's what I created. So you think of my offerings as the food part, which is the 21 Day Challenges, and the mindset part, which is the Eat to Live Academy. Okay. So if you guys have any questions about it, let me know. As I said, we're open for registration right now. If you go to that link that I put in the comment section and up in the description, you will be able to get so much more information about what's going on in there. Another thing that is available to you, there's a lot of bonuses too, but another thing that is, I think, maybe even one of the most valuable parts is the included private Facebook group, which is the place where you can get one-to-one coaching with me and my other two coaches, Karen and Nancy, Coach Karen and Coach Nancy. They're both in there. We're all certified from the same organization, the Life Coach School, so we have the same mindset training, and we're all nutritarians. And Karen happens to be a registered dietitian as well, so fantastic support in there. And what's really cool about the private Facebook group is, like, as you're going through the weeks, you learn all this information, and then you can just go in there and get actual coaching on it too, get further explanation, get more information, etc. And it's all there from all the previous students. So like once you sign up for the Academy, you're in it for life. And so you have Facebook group access for life. And so you can go through past classes, people that have gone through the Academy already, see all their questions and see all of our answers to them, to hear more depth and to learn more depth, see different people's situations and how it might relate to what you're going through too. So there's an included private Facebook group that I think is worth its weight in gold. Julie says, how much time do we need to be able to set aside each day for the program? Okay, good question, Julie. So the program itself on a weekly basis is about 60 to 90 minutes of instruction. So it's videos. So you'll go through the videos. You can take notes and stuff like that too, but about 60 to 90 minutes per week. Homework-wise, it's only about 7 minutes per day. So I have you do something called thought downloads and models each day, which really only take about 5 to 7 minutes per day, and that's it. So there's some worksheets and stuff as well. You can do those if you like. They're not necessarily mandatory, but of course, the more work you do, the more you get out of it, right? I also think that, as I was saying, it's super important to go through the Facebook group and to use that Facebook group as a way of deepening your understanding of the material. So I'm always asking people to do responses to the material in the Facebook group, to ask questions, further questions about their understanding of it, to deepen their understanding and correct certain things that they might not quite understand or whatever. And so our coaches are in there that will help you do that. And so honestly, 5-7 minutes per day plus the lessons that you watch on a weekly basis. And then maybe if we're going to do a worksheet, it might take 10-15 minutes a week. Really, it's not that huge of a commitment, but it is kind of like I want you to think of it like taking a college course. And I have specifically designed it in that way, that each week you get a very specific layout and set of information to sort of build on the information the week before. And as long as you kind of keep on the bandwagon, keep doing the work, then you will stay up to speed and get so much out of it. And then using the Facebook group at the same time. There's also a few bonuses. So in the third week is the week that's all about the food part of stuff. So we talk about Eat to Live a little bit. We talk about protocol, so how to create our own meal plans for healthy eating, and for us specifically, like how do we create a meal plan that works for me, right? And what I want to teach you, and the whole reason that I've created this academy, is because I want you to feel empowered that you can do this yourself. There's a difference between accountability coaching, which is what most people coach on nowadays. Like, hey, send me your meal plan, send me what you ate, and I'll tell you where you went wrong, right? And then there's a difference between causal coaching, which is the actual cause of why we overeat. And that's what the academy is about. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. The YouTube says, I wish you were my chef. I'm lazy and don't like to cook. I'm lazy and don't like to cook either. Let's not get this twisted. But we do it anyways. And Jillian says, I so want to do this, but with the exchange from Canadian to American dollars, I just can't afford it right now. I'm so jealous. I understand, Jillian. I'm so sorry you can't come in yet, but there will be more opportunities in the future for you for sure. Okay. So let's talk about the sort of topic of the video, how to end emotional eating. So I'm going to just give you the answer to this question, because basically what we end up doing is we eat, we overeat, or we binge, or we hoard, or we eat unconsciously without even thinking about it, or like we drink too much and then we end up eating too much. And these kind of patterns just continue on throughout life, right? And that's kind of the way that we do it. But why do we do that? We do it because of a concept that we talk about in my life coaching, which is called buffering. Buffering is using one thing to get out of the pain of another thing. Okay, that's what we use this word for. So when we talk about buffering, it's like using food to get out of the pain of a stressful workday, or using wine to get out of the pain of a breakup, or using Netflix to get out of the pain of not wanting to talk to that person, or whatever it is. So that's buffering. My buffering that I do all the time is like what I call tab surfing. So I'm just like surfing all the tabs on my browser, like checking my email, checking my Facebook, checking my YouTube. Not actually doing any work, just like wasting time. And then I might get caught on YouTube for like 4 hours, and before you know it, I've like totally put off the thing I was gonna do, because I was afraid of doing the thing. So emotional eating tends to be, on the whole, it tends to be this thing that's all about trying to get out of the pain of something else that we're avoiding. So if we're avoiding something, not only do we not fix the thing we're avoiding, but we also add on top of it the sort of pain of whatever we used to buffer with, right? So for example, we talk about, let's just talk about, let's say Doritos are our favorite food, okay? And we always buffer with Doritos. So like every time we feel stressed out about something or whatever, Doritos are our first line of defense, right? Now, this could be wine, it could be pizza, it could be just too many nuts and seeds, or some dates, or overeating on nutritarian food or whatever. Or maybe we have cravings after every meal or something. We feel like we need to satisfy them with something else. Whatever our food is, or whatever our go-to buffer is, that is instant gratification, right? So it's like, I want this thing to make me feel better right now, and I'm going to use that to feel better right now. But you never notice that like buffering, or this like instant gratification thing, it only works for about 10 or 15 minutes. Feels great for sure, right? Because you get that dopamine hit, get the nice sweet or salty flavor, whatever it is, or the wine relaxes you or whatever. But it only lasts for the amount of time that you're having the thing, right? Once you're done, you've got all of that negativity afterwards. There's usually no positivity afterwards for a long, sustained period of time. So you've got guilty thoughts, you've got, oh, I did this to myself again. You might have weight gain or sodium, water retention. You might have headaches, you might get, uh, you know, joint pain or whatever. So many different things come out of this, not to mention just the fact that you're not going towards your goal, you're moving away from your goal, right? So that's kind of how we typically behave nowadays. But the opposite of that would be working for our well being. So it would be not having the thing and then getting all of the pleasure afterwards in more of a sustained, long term well being kind of a feeling where we're like, cool, I avoided the wine. Now look at all the benefits I get, right? Like I don't feel groggy in the morning. I don't have swollen joints or, whatever side effects you have from drinking a bunch of wine or whatever. And I feel good about myself because I didn't end up overeating also. And I got up on time and I felt fresh in the morning and, all these things. So you think of those two options, right? One option is instant gratification, which leads to a whole bunch of heck afterwards that you don't like. The other one is more discomfort in the moment, but it leads to all the good stuff at the end. So that's our choices, right? Why do we always end up choosing this? Now, we talk about all this in the academy. The first lesson is all about this, but why do we always end up choosing it? Because it's programmed into us, because we've been doing it for so long, lots of different reasons, because society keeps telling us to, because of food porn commercials. Like, it's crazy, being quarantined at home and seeing more TV. Commercials are just like, if you step outside yourself and like look at what a food commercial is like, it's ridiculous. Like, they've got the food, like, right. I mean, it is literally like porn, dripping sauces, and it's right up in your face, and like money shots of all the burgers and the meat and the grease and the dripping stuff. Like, it's crazy if you really take a moment to think about it, right? How blatant those commercials are about getting you to do something. And so there's so many reasons why we choose instant gratification versus the discomfort part. But of course, it's pretty obvious, right? Like, of course, you would want to choose the thing that feels good first instead of the thing that takes a long time to feel good, right? So that's what we talk about in the academy, is how to get to this place of consistently always choosing the long-term well-being choice, right? Like, how do we do that when we don't want to? How do we do that when we're tired, when we come from work, and when we just don't feel like it, and we just feel too lazy to cook, right? All these kinds of things. And so, we've got my private coaching program, and as I go through private coaching with someone, I'm just repeating these lessons over and over to everybody. And I notice, well, why don't I just distill this down into an 8-week course that I can give to somebody to start off that foundation of learning how to go from a binger or a food addict or something like that to somebody who just has it under control and understands. Now, the answer to this question is, how do you get over emotional eating? How do you get over being that person at the top who just always chooses the instant gratification? Well, the answer is in your thoughts. And that's what we talk about with mindset. That's what I'm saying when I use the word mindset. I mean your thoughts. So your thoughts are what create all of your results. Okay. And Jolene says lots of emotional buffering going on right now. I know. I have so many friends on this no knead bread, sourdough, or cinnamon bun kick. I know. I resisted because I know if I make it, I will eat it the same way. I don't bake on purpose. I love to bake. I love to cook. I love to do things like that, but I don't do it on purpose because I'll eat it, right? It's totally unnecessary. I totally get what you're saying, Jolene, especially in this day and age with the quarantine going on and lockdown and people getting so restless and all this kind of stuff. It is a tough time. And how could we do it even in a time of quarantine, right? Like, how could we do it even when things feel their worst? Or you could imagine another time in your life that could be really terrible, like a parent has Alzheimer's and you're dealing with that, and maybe you lost your job and then this happened and this happened, and how could you still eat healthy in the face of all that stuff? Well, it's mindset. It's your thoughts. So your thoughts create everything. Now here's the answer to it, how to end emotional eating. So you get emotional eating because you're trying to get out of the pain of something else, being tired, being restless, being jealous, being angry, being mad, being stressed, being in danger, whatever. So you eat to try to make it feel better, right? But of course it doesn't fix it. So how do we stop buffering? Well, here's the answer. Oh, Inspire Life says you seem to have colds. No, I'm just pregnant. This is a pregnancy symptom that I get whenever I get uh, pregnant. So it's called pregnancy rhinitis, and it's just a stuffy nose that has to do with pregnancy. So sorry for that. And this is also why I'm completely out of breath. I'm having twins, by the way, Inspire Life, and they're due in 6 weeks. So we in the home stretch. So what I'm talking about is the answer to emotional eating, and it's what we talk about in my 8-week Eat to Live Academy. So by the way, real quick, Academy is open for registration right now, and it's only open for registration this time till tomorrow night at midnight. So if you guys want to get in on it, I don't know the next time we're going to open it because I'm going on maternity leave. So you might want to consider jumping in now if you can. Thanks, Paul. How many months already? So twins. So I'm 7 months, but they're due in 6 weeks because they're a sort of risky type of twin, only one placenta. So we can take them a little bit early to keep them safe, but at 37 weeks. But yeah, so 7, 8 months, something like that, or we're home stretch at this point. Thanks, Paul. Says congratulations. So that's what the Academy is for, is to help us understand, my private coaching program, like what you would learn in private coaching, all the lessons. You get that private Facebook group. You get a lot of bonuses, which I'll talk about in a second too. And it's only open for registration until tomorrow night. So it might be open again in another 2 to 3 months. I'm not sure. It's kind of the plan, but I don't know. And also, I think the price is going to go up, probably not on the next registration period, but the next one for sure when I'm back from maternity leave. The price will be going up at some point. No, there's no supplements or anything like that with this Inspire Life. This is just an 8-week digital online course. Okay. So let's talk about what the solution is to end emotional eating. So we understand that, and I've told you, the reason that we have the results that we have, any result, a specific weight, an amount of money in our bank account, the type of house that we live in, the car that we drive or don't drive, whatever, any result that we have in our life is based on a thought that we had in the past. It is a set of thoughts that we repeated, right? So if we're the kind of person who likes Mustangs, we have a Mustang or we want a Mustang because of what we think about Mustangs, right? Or we don't have a Mustang because of what we think about Mustangs. Same thing with pets. Like I have 2 cats. I have 2 cats because of what I think about cats, right? I do not have dogs because of what I think about dogs, right? Similarly, but maybe a little bit harder to understand, we weigh what we weigh because of what we think about food or because of what we think about cooking or healthy eating or whatever. We weigh exactly what we weigh because of our thoughts. So therefore, if we want to weigh something different, we have to change our thoughts. Now, how does this work? Well, we put this in the context of emotional eating. Hold on, I have to catch my breath for a sec. If we are emotionally eating, it's because of what we're thinking. So when we think a certain thing, it causes us to eat in a certain way. And when we eat in that certain way, we end up with a result of a certain weight, right? So if we're constantly thinking to ourselves, oh, I'm so tired. I couldn't possibly make dinner right now. I just don't want to. I don't feel like cooking. That's going to lead to a certain result, right? If we instead have a thought like, I know I'm tired, but I just need to buck up and make this meal anyways because I prefer to be healthy than not, right? That thought would lead to a much different result than the first thought. So our thoughts create our results, but how do we change our thoughts, right? The answer lies in what we teach in the Eat to Live Academy, which is why it's an 8-week thing, because it's like this, oh my gosh, hey, I just got a donation from the YouTube. Thank you so much, my friend, $2.99. That was so generous of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Anyone else wants to donate? I'm taking taking donations for my twins college fund right now. Just kidding. Okay. Thank you, the YouTube. I appreciate that. So if we want to have different results in our life, we want to have a different weight, or we want lower cholesterol, or we want to get rid of our type 2 diabetes or whatever, we have to change our thoughts. So how do we actually do that? Let's look at this question from Julie, who says, I lost 65 pounds and gained 100. I can't seem to motivate myself. It makes me so insecure to date and make friends. I don't know how to self-love after my marriage of 20 years ending and my kids growing up. Yeah, Julie, this is the Eat to Live Academy, 100%. We actually have a whole section in there where I talk about a former client of mine who was also insecure to date because of the way she thought of herself. Let me look at my outline here. Week 6 is feel better to eat better, how to solve emotional eating. We talk about worth and worthiness, assessment versus criticism. And then in week 7, we talk all about body image and lovability and confidence. And we have tools and things like that. And then we also talk about self-care versus self-indulgence as well. So a lot of really, really good information there on how to, as you said, love yourself, even in the face of adversity or things that have changed our life significantly. So lost 65 pounds and gained 100, can't seem to motivate myself. Yeah. So here's the thing, Julie. You are where you are because of those thoughts. I can't seem to motivate myself, right? And I want to say this is the thought pattern of everybody who struggles with overeating. All of my clients, where I used to come from, where I used to be, when we're repeating these thoughts of, oh, I'm so tired, or I can't seem to motivate myself, or whatever, we're going to have a result that looks like that. But if we can learn to change our thoughts to be something more useful, that's when we really start to gain traction and when we can do this stuff for life, right? So how do we do that? In a nutshell, in the academy, what we teach is that our thoughts are choices, right? And this is the first thing that's kind of a mind-blowing concept, because we think your thought, Julie, for instance, I can't seem to motivate myself. That seems like a very automatic thought, and to you, it seems like a fact, right? It seems like this immutable fact that is just unchangeable. I'm the type of person who can't seem to motivate myself, right? And the more you tell yourself this thought, and another word for that is story, the more you tell yourself that story, the more you believe it, and the more it becomes your reality, and the more you continue to behave in a way that follows from a thought like that. But if you can learn how to notice your thoughts, and now here's the answer here, Julie. If you can learn to notice your thoughts, if you can learn to understand that entire story that you're telling yourself, not just that one thought, but all the thoughts that come with it. If you can get into that story and understand that story that you're telling yourself, the whole perspective of it, why you tell yourself that story, what does it mean about you? What are you making it mean? How long have you been telling yourself that, etc.? When you really dig into that story and you understand the story you're telling yourself, so it's being aware of the story, then it's having perspective on the story from all the different angles, and really like having the story, but then coming up above the story and understanding it from the top down, where you can really see it as an outsider instead of someone who's just caught in it, right? And then you can learn how to choose your thoughts deliberately instead, and you start to choose thoughts that are more useful for you. So instead of, I can't seem to motivate myself, you think to yourself, when have I motivated myself in the past? Right? You think back to a time when you've motivated yourself. Well, first of all, I can guarantee you there's a time of day where you're pretty motivated, and it's probably breakfast time. 99% of my clients that come to me don't have too much problem with breakfast typically, regularly, right? Like they can just choose kind of the same breakfast every day because no big deal, because willpower is really easily during the morning, right? So there are times where we're like super motivated, right? Or as Jolene was pointing out, when you lost the 65 pounds, you are definitely capable of motivation, right? And you have been in the past. So therefore, you could be in the future. So what if you changed your thought from, I can't seem to motivate myself, to, I can't seem to motivate myself sometimes lately, but I definitely can, like in the mornings, right? Or like I definitely have before, so I know I can again. That thought creates more of a uplifting feeling. It creates more of a empowered feeling, which leads to a different result. But this thought that you have right now, I can't seem to motivate myself, that creates a really down feeling. When we're feeling down, we're going to take actions that reflect that feeling down, and it's not going to lead to good choices. But the whole strategy here, the first thing we have to do is, let me just make it clear, it's not about willpower, okay? The Academy is not about willpower at all. In fact, it's the opposite of willpower, because willpower doesn't work, and we know that. The Academy is all about teaching you that you have the ability to do this right inside of your own mind. And I don't mean by just like white knuckling, right? Because that's what everyone does. It's not about accountability. It's not about like, just like all the things that you hear about, like as long as you eat these foods, or you eat for your blood type, or you eat this way, or you do keto or whatever, like you're going to be able to do it. It's not like specifically what you eat. It's what goes on in your mind and how your thoughts are creating that. Thoughts are not willpower. Willpower is that white knuckling kind of just holding on and trying to make it work kind of a thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about becoming truly aware of the thoughts we have, the stories we tell ourselves, really understanding the full breadth of that, and then from there, choosing different thoughts all the time. Sounds tiring at first, and in the beginning, it takes some practice. But once you get good at choosing your thoughts deliberately, which is what I teach in the Academy, it's automatic. You just do what you have to do. It's all the time. And it becomes so much easier after you practice it. You've been doing it for so long, and it has just become second nature to you. And then it's no longer a struggle. And you just always choose thoughts that create the result that you want. So Julie, I imagine maybe in the past you used a lot of willpower possibly, or accountability, buddy systems. You followed a specific diet plan or something like that. That's usually what my clients come to me with. And that's what I've always done, following the 21-day challenges or whatever. But to get myself to the actual consistency place, that was all mindset. And so that was my journey. And that's why I came up with the Eat to Live Academy. And that is the answer to ending emotional eating. That's how you do it. Recognizing what's happening and choosing a new path. And so I teach you how to do that in the Eat to Live Academy. So it's 8 weeks of online instruction. It's all pre-recorded videos, different. And so I've got 8 modules. Each week is a different lesson, a different set of lessons. You have 3 or 4 lessons per week, 60 to 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes of instruction. And there's also worksheets that you can go through and deepen your understanding. There's PDF handouts to help you learn the content easier, and you can print them out. All the slides from the presentations are printable so that you can take notes on there and everything. And the thing is, when you join the Academy, it's lifetime access. So you join once, you pay the investment for that initial access. You get the welcome module and the first week right away. And then each week after that, you'll get the next week module dripped out to you. And I do that on purpose because I don't want you to have all the content up front. I want you to be, I want you to take the time to go through each thing as I would in my private coaching. I want you to learn something. I want you to take a week to think through it, work through it, and then I want you to learn a new thing, because each week is these really hard-hitting concepts that are sort of mindset changing, right? And life changing. So I want you to take the time to really go through it in a more structured kind of way. Then once you go through the whole Academy, you have lifetime access, and you can go through it again at any time you want, at any pace. So in the beginning, it's structured week by week, and then you're welcome to go through it at your own pace again. My former client who I just finished with him last week, his name is Joe. His story is actually on the registration page. So if you guys want to go to that registration page, you should check out Joe's story. The man did amazing. He did the Academy with me. He did the private coaching. He lost 28 pounds in the 12 weeks that we worked together. And he said in the beginning, he went from being an extreme binge eater, he said, to now he knows that he'll be able to lose all the weight and he won't have any concern about doing it for the rest of his life. He just knows. He's like in that place of surety, right? Like certainty, I think is the word I was looking for. He just knows where to go. He knows what to do now. And I have many other testimonials that are like that I haven't actually edited yet, but several other people from the beginning of the academy, the first group that went through, same kind of a feeling, same kind of thoughts, that they just get it now. They just know what they're doing. They know what has always been the issue and now how to tackle everything in the future. And the beautiful part about the academy too is these are life coaching mindset techniques. So they will work for food and weight loss and healthy eating consistency, but then they're also going to work for everything else: money, business, relationships, things like that. So, excuse me, you'll find that you can apply these concepts to so many different things. And what's beautiful about the academy is you've got the 8 weeks of online instruction, but you also have the private Facebook group included. And what that does is allows you to commune with the other academy members. Everyone who's ever been in the academy is in that group, and you can search through and read their old thoughts and questions and struggles and things like that, and see the coaching that they've gotten. So it's just a wealth of information I released the academy first, I think it was in February or March. I think it was February, or was it January? I don't know. And then I had this first set of students go through it, and we've just had people coming in since then. And all of their stuff is in there, all of their coaching and their thought downloads and struggles and things like that you can read through and find in there. And then the other thing is you've got a bunch of bonuses too. So like you get a free 21-day challenge just for joining. You get the October 2019 challenge, which, by the way, if you already bought that one, we can switch it out for a different one, no problem. And that gets delivered in week 3. Then there's some other amazing bonuses. One of them is the my meal prepping and planning guide, which has some actual nitty-gritty meal prepping and planning stuff, but the bulk of this guide is all about mindset. I'm really proud of it. I love this guide. I think it has so much of this amazing information in it. And then there's also nutritarian recipe formulas. So how do you make a salad? How do you make a smoothie? Just like formulas of different nutritarian recipes that you could make burritos and pizzas and all this kind of stuff. Then you also there's a whole FAQ section at the end, which when I made the academy, I didn't realize I was going to do it in this very difficult way for me to produce, but for you to watch very easily. I did 23 separate videos on frequently asked questions. So like, what do I do if I have a slow metabolism? Or what do I do if I hit a plateau or whatever? So that's at the end of the academy, and you get to watch all those videos. And I put it at the end because it uses a lot of lingo and a lot of information that we have learned in the beginning of the academy. You really have to know that stuff first before you can get to those videos and fully understand them and appreciate them. But like I have a couple of women who went through the academy from the first cohort, the first group of people that joined the academy, and they went through the whole thing, and now both of them are buddying up to go through it again. And it's only been a few weeks since they finished it, and they're going through it again so they can keep learning the information. And I know this because they were talking about it in the Facebook group, and they decided to buddy up in there. And so we've got Jo, who's lost so much weight. We've got Jessica. I'm going to be editing her testimonial soon to be able to show to you guys as well. That same kind of a thing she said. She just figured out finally what she was always struggling with, and now she feels like she's just gonna keep going for the rest of her life. So this is the 8-week Eat to Live Academy. I wanted to give you guys like a really good overview of this, and it's open for registration now. So you have to make sure you get in because we're only keeping registration open until tomorrow night. So make sure you get in. The YouTube says, I was doing great with Eat to Live for 6 months. I've been struggling with binge eating since quarantine started. I have to get back on track. Definitely going to sign up for Academy soon. Good. I really hope you do. There's actually in there, there's 2 live calls that I recorded and that you can access. We did in the very beginning of the Academy. And we don't do live calls right now anymore. We will do them after my maternity leave is done. But there's a couple of live calls in there, and one of them is very quarantine related, by the way, because the live call was being recorded right when quarantine was starting and everyone was kind of freaking out. And So I did a whole coaching session on quarantine and COVID. And what's beautiful about it is that it relates to any other situation we have in our life, because quarantine is such like a big thing that we think it's like this big thing going on. It's so what's the word, like life changing, life altering, but it's kind of the same thing as if we got cancer or a loved one got cancer or we lost our job or something else big, got in a car accident or whatever. Like something else big happened in our life, it's kind of the same exact, you could sort of apply it to other things that could happen in your life. And so it's a really wonderful coaching session because it brought up a lot of this stuff of like, how do you stay on track when something big like this is happening? And so I just wanted to mention that to you because there's some stuff in there about that too as well. So we've got fundamentals, how do we get where we are? Then we have the model, which is all about our thoughts creating our results. That's in week 2. Then we learn about Eat to Live 101. We learn about feelings and why they're so important, prepping and planning, and then what is a protocol? So how do you create your own meals that create weight loss for you, etc. Week 4 is about more of my private coaching program for weight loss. So how to use the scale, as in the scale that you weigh yourself on, decisions ahead of time, just practical tools, how to commit to things. Week 5 is how to deal with negative emotion and cope better. So this is very helpful for the situation we're all in. This is all about buffering, emotional acceptance, and what to do with circumstances that feel really terrible. This is kind of like the coronavirus thing. Week 6 is how to feel better to eat better, how to solve emotional eating. So how to stop cravings. This is the most important tool that I teach in week 2 has the model, which is, there's 2 majorly important tools that I teach, the model in week 2 and how to allow urges in week 6, worth and worthiness, and then assessment versus criticism, as I talked about before, and gratitude. Week 7, how to feel better to eat better. And then this one is the body image, lovability, and confidence, and then self-care versus self-indulgence. And then, because so many of us don't love ourselves, right? And you have to love ourselves to be able to get there forever. So I teach you exactly how to do that. Week 8 is all about thinking about the future and what to do once you're done with the academy, how to move forward. There's the FAQ in there. And then you get all the bonuses. And yeah, so that's that. So that is the Eat to Live Academy, 8-week Eat to Live Academy. Open for registration right now. As I said, I'm not sure when we're releasing it again. It could be after the next challenge, which we're hoping we're going to release in July. But of course, that's right when I'm going to be in the thick of being a new twin plus toddler mama. So I won't be around, but hopefully my team will be able to pull that together. It's going to be, I have the best team. They're so amazing. So let me just explain for a sec about my team and how we're moving forward for maternity leave. I'm going to be going on maternity leave really soon, like in a week or 2. And then I'm not due for another 6 weeks, but I'm probably going to be taking 3 to 4 months off at least after the babies are born, because I don't really know how to adjust to that. I don't know what it's going to be like yet, but it looks like 3 to 4 months. And then, but my team is so amazing. We've got Coach Nancy and Coach Karen, who are coming in to take over for me as coaches while I'm away. Karen is already coaching for us. She's taken on a bunch of clients from this last video that we did, and she follows all the same kind of stuff. She's a registered dietitian as well. So if you wanted to have more of the private type, tailored, specific, custom coaching, Karen is doing that right now. So you can find out about that on my website. She's amazing. And she's also my coach. So like I hire her to coach me on a weekly basis. We have coaching every Monday. And so she helps me with stuff too. And then Nancy, who is our amazing recipe creator for the challenges, she's also getting trained in the same exact methods that Karen and I know from the Life Coach School. So all the mindset stuff, Nancy is a pro at all this stuff as well. She's going to start to be coaching really soon as well in the next few months, I think. So between Coach Nancy and Coach Karen, they're going to be in the private Facebook group coaching while I'm out. And then when I get back, it'll be all 3 of us. And then I've got Carrie, who helps me with the launches. So hopefully we'll be able to be up to speed where she can help continuing the journey of launching our challenges every quarter. And then I think we're doing academy launches after challenge launches, but I'm not really sure because I won't be around. So it'll be kind of like whatever they can handle. And we've got Tanya on social media, and she's just doing a killer job at that too. So the team is just awesome, and they're going to keep going while I'm away, and they will be continuing to publish live videos every week on YouTube as well. So we're going to continue to do the what I eat in a day videos, the recipe videos. There's going to be more mindset videos and things like that as well. So we'll keep YouTube going for you too. So that is what's going on, you guys. And that's all I got for today. So there's no more questions. I want to thank the YouTube again for donating today. That means so much to me. And I want to thank you guys for being here with me and sticking around and listening to me just blabbing. I really hope to see you in the 8-week Eat to Live Academy. As I said, registration is only open until tomorrow night, and I'm not sure when we're opening again. So if you feel like the mindset thing is something you're interested in, jump on board. And also remember, I said, I think we're going to be upping the price pretty soon too. Maybe not on the next release, but probably the one after that. So it's definitely something you want to consider. Just check out the investment, maybe start saving a little bit, get in, because once you're in, and you're at that price. And I never charge you another penny to stay in the academy. So get in, you can get all the updates, and you can continue to have access to the Facebook group for life. So you definitely want to get in there. Okay. So that's what I got for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know some of you guys are on a different time zone, probably Eastern, 9:04 p.m. That's amazing. Thanks for being with me. Maybe some of you are in Europe even, or somewhere else where it's a totally different time. I appreciate you spending your time with me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us by email or in Facebook or anything like that. And I hope you guys have super awesome night. I'm going to just put the link in one more time here in the comment section so you can go to registration. Otherwise, it's in the description box. And we will see you guys in the next video. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more live videos until after maternity leave. So if not, I wish you guys the best, and I can't wait to come back and love on you some more and give you some more amazing information. But you are in amazing hands with Karen and Nancy until then. So thanks so much, you guys, and have a good night. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.